Good evening. In this class, I will continue the risk management system. Today, I will discuss several topics. One of these topics is integrated strategy with performance 2017. 2017, why? Because it is issued in 2017 by COSO. COSO already presented one diagram that I have already discussed also. This diagram is in addition to the previous diagram that says that ERM, Enterprise Risk Management Framework, should include everything. Means while we are setting mission, we have to consider the risk. While we are setting vision, we have to consider the risk. Core values of the entity, we have to integrate the risk. We have to see the risk. Where is the risk and how we should handle all these risks. Risk is inherent. The risk is obvious in everything an entity does. That is the idea, and it is therefore a risk. So what is the risk? It is therefore a risk that a strategy, that we are choosing a strategy for an entity may not be in line with stated mission. So our strategy and mission may not be aligned with each other, or our strategy and vision may not be aligned with each other. So that is also a risk. It should be aligned. Here is the picture: mission and vision, core values, strategy development, business objective formulation, implementation and performance, enhanced value, governance, culture, strategy and objective setting, performance, review and revision, information, communication and reporting. All these things one by one we will discuss how this picture is relevant in enterprise risk management. So the previous picture is broken into 5 components. First is what? Governance and culture. This relate the internal environment. This governance and culture relate the internal environment and emphasize the importance of tone of the organization. It also include the ethical behavior and understanding the risk appetite of the entity. So what is the risk appetite of the entity? It must be understood first as a to the it should be culture, it should be internal environment to understand the risk appetite. Risk appetite is the capacity of bearing the risk. It is always decided by the management. That may not be random. While you are deciding risk appetite, you must be intelligent enough to decide how much capacity your organization is having to bear the risk. Based on your organization capacity, you decide your appetite and then formulate your strategy. Next, strategy and objective setting. This component is possibly the main focus to the update. We have earlier one diagram. This explanation is as per the new diagram, where the main focus is strategy and objective setting. It emphasizes the importance of making enterprise risk management and objective setting is aligned to the risk appetite. So our objective setting, when we are setting this objective should be aligned with the risk appetite. Here is the risk appetite. So objective and risk appetite. Both should be aligned. Both we have to we have to care about the risk appetite while we are setting the objectives. This component therefore help to minimize the risk of wrong strategy being chosen. For example, while we are going to fight from someone in a ring, we should know our capacity, how much capacity I have in terms of strength, weight, speed, and what capacity our enemy has, so that we can decide, we can formulate some strategy. So here also in business, you must know what is your capacity, how much risk you can bear, and based on that you formulate your strategy. The third one is performance. This combines the component of original cube of event identification, risk assessment, and risk response. So we have to identify first event. What are the events that may occur, and what are the risk assessment? These event is having risk. It may be positive or negative. We already know in business risk we are not considering as a bad thing. It is a deviation. So it may be positive or negative, and then you have to assess that risk, and then you have to decide about the responses, how you will respond. So first, this may be second, and this is third step. It involves maintaining a focus on identifying internal and external event, both positive and negative, which could impact upon the achievement of the entity's objective. That objective, it may impact not only in negative sense, it may be in positive sense. Assessing the likelihood and impact of those events. So what is the chance? So suppose one event increase in tax rate or interest rate. We have interest, we have a loan to run the business, so there is a chance that there will be an increase in interest rate. What is the chance of that occurrence? It is 40% chance, 60% chance, 90% chance. So we have to assess the likelihood and impact, and then impact. If the likelihood means how much, what is the chance? Suppose 90% chance is that the interest rate will increase. What will be the effect? So increase in interest rate, how it will affect the organization? If you have taken loan, it will affect you negatively. If you have given loan, it will affect you positively. So both the case is possible. Then event to prioritize their importance. Based on this likelihood, we have to prioritize their importance, and then develop a response to accept. Then we have to decide. When we have decided all these things, impact, effect, then now you have to develop, this is last stage, response. Response may be accept. One, okay, it is fine, like I have given loan, the chances is that the rate will increase, accept, happy. Next, reduce. I have taken loan, chances 90% that the loan interest rate will increase. Reduce the loan part, try to finance with some other sources. Avoid your risk. If in some cases it may be possible that you're going to start new project with interest, new project with loan where you have to pay interest as per your calculation. So suppose your project require 1 lakh rupees, and this 1 lakh rupees you are going to take through loan, and rate of interest is 10%. After increment, rate of interest will be 12%. With 10% you have profit, your project is successful, and with 12% you may be in loss. So avoid, don't start the project now, you wait for some time, or you share the risk. Sharing the risk is also another option. For example, an insurance company, they have taken a insurance of very huge amount. Suppose something, if the event will happen, they have to pay 1 crore rupees. So this is a huge amount. What this insurance company do, they can reinsurance this amount from other insurance company. They can divide, they can reduce the risk, they can share the risk. Next important step is review and revision. So policies and procedure to help ensure the risk response are effectively carried out. We have decided the policy, we frame the regulations, we frame the objective, all these things we did, but whether our decisions are on the ground or not, we have to review whether all these things are implemented or not. If implemented, then what is the effectiveness, how precisely it is implemented. So through the selection of key metrics, this review and revision is through the selection. How we will review? Through the key metrics. We will decide some metrics, some criteria, based on that we will review. To ensure, what we have to ensure, that entire risk management process is monitored and modifications made as necessary. So we are monitoring, and if some modification is required, we are doing modification as well. Next in stage, information should be communicated and reported. As always, it is always necessary everywhere. This is a main part of the process, to communicate the information and report record. It is vital important that the relevant information is identified. What are the relevant information? Number 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the relevant information. 1, 2 should be communicated to particular level. Level 1. Third should be 1, 2, 3. All this should be communicated at level 2. 4 should be communicated to all employee. So we have to decide, identify and identify and capture and communicate in form of time frame that enables people to carry out their responsibility. If there is time frame is required, then it should be time frame. Time frame may be of maybe in two types. One is, you have to communicate the information with certain within a time frame, or with communication you provide time frame to complete the task. And that is informed in information is reported to the right people and label, be that director or shareholder. It may be director, it may be shareholder. Okay, fine. Now let's discuss the benefit of enterprise resource risk management. Enhanced decision making. It enhances the decision making by integrating risk. Earlier your decision may be avoiding the risk, or you are just concentrating on business management, but if you will add a risk, your decision is enhanced. It reduced performance fluctuation and fewer interruption to the operation. So if you will take the risk, if you will consider the risk part in your decision, your performance fluctuation will be less. Sometimes you have good profit, sometimes you have less profit, so this fluctuation will be reduced, and in place of that it may be straight. The resultant improvement in investors' confidence, and if your performance is consistent, then investor will be motivated to invest in your organization. Hence, shareholders' value will increase. Focus of the management attention on the most significant risk. So management will take care about the most significant risk. A common language of risk management which is understood throughout the organization enable performance improvement. I already told this risk assessment should be culture of the organization. If you will make this risk assessment and preventive or handling the risk as a culture in your organization, then automatically the performance of organization will improve. It increased the ability to benefit from upside risk and reduce the susceptibility of downside risk. So if the event is going to benefit the organization, you are ready because you have already assessed. If your risk is going to reduce your profit, you are already ready to manage the risk. So in both ways it will benefit. It reduces the cost of finance through effective management of risk. Ultimately, if you will not manage the risk, it is going to affect you financially. Therefore, if you are managing risk, it will reduce the cost of finance. Improved utilization of resources, increase opportunity for the organization. Now, formulation of risk strategy. For many business, a specific formulation of risk strategy has been recently developed. Still now, this is a culture of big organization. At a small level or medium size enterprise, they have to adopt this culture to assess the risk. In past, a formal strategy for managing risk would be developed, but rather it would be left to individual manager. It is developed, but it is the responsibility of individual manager to make assessment of the risk the business face. He has to assess the risk. It is automatically understood that manager will assess the risk, he will handle the risk, and he will exercise the judgment what was reasonable at the level of risk. This has now changed because failure to properly identify and control risk has been identified as a major cause of business failure. That is the reason now risk, we cannot leave to assess the risk only a one person. We have to strategize, or we have to document the risk. We have to distribute the risk assessment culture among all the employee. So business strategy, what the company will do? Risk appetite, how much risk the business will accept. That includes risk attitude, overall approach of risk, and risk capacity. Risk appetite depend on these two things. And risk strategy, how risk will be managed. Risk that cannot be managed. Always there are some risk that cannot be managed, that you have to identify that risk also. If it cannot be managed, better avoid. So risk appetite can be defined as the amount of risk an organization is willing to accept in pursuit of value. This may be explicit in strategies, policies, and procedure, or it may be implicit. It is determined by, so this risk appetite is determined by two things. As the previous slide we have already seen, risk capacity. What is the capacity? The amount of risk that organization can bear. You cannot decide risk, you cannot take risk that is beyond your capacity. And the attitude, the overall approach of risk in terms of broad being risk adverse or risk seeking. So the board of management is want to avoid the risk or want to take benefit from risk. The way that the organization documents and determine the specific part of its risk strategy should be linked to the business strategy and objective. Overall risk management strategy is concerned with trying to achieve required business objective with the lowest possible chance of failure. This is the main objective. The tougher the business objective, however, the more risk will have to be taken to achieve them. If the business objective is tough, you have to take more risk. Residual risk is the risk of business faces after its control have been considered. So this is the risk. Residual risk is a risk that is uncontrolled, you cannot control, so avoid. So thank you very much. In next class we'll continue the risk management. For that, by that time, have a nice day.